music, movies, comedy, and eating ass and comic books. Welcome to my podcast. 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 Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Here podcast. I'm John White. I run this organization. I don't know what it's called. I run Here Studios, and I make music as the John Whites. I'm working on making my first movie and also making short films, music videos to gain the experience that I need to make the movie. I know I'll never be ready, because you're never really ready to just make stuff. You just got to do it, but I want to get a level of efficiency, skill level, to where I could actually make a movie, because it's one of my biggest dreams. And then I do this podcast where I just talk about the stuff that I'm doing, and wow, I look fucking pale. I'm also pale. That's why I look pale. So I should just deal with that, I guess. This episode today is gonna be, it's called I Love Grant Morrison, because I do love Grant Morrison. And I'm gonna talk about that, but before I do any of that, I don't know if that was an audible fart, but I farted. Before I do any of that, farts are great, I'm going to do like a short monologue. Speaking of farts, my butthole, this isn't like joke monologue, but this is just, so I want to talk a little bit before I go into the episode's main subject. My butthole was itching a minute ago, and I was like, I'm not going to record this episode until my butthole isn't itching. So I went upstairs, took a shower, washed my butt, and pulled all the hairs out of my butt, because my hair gets, I got a lot of hair in my ass sometimes, and when it gets a certain length, you can pull it all out, and I did, and now I have a nice, clean baby's bottom, and it hurts, but it's worth it, because I hate having itchy butt, dude. It's so annoying. And the likelihood of having an itchy butt increases immensely, however much hair you have on your butt. So I took a shower, and it felt really nice. This is the first shower I've taken since I released Volume 1 of my 9th album. The whole thing's not out yet, but Volume 1 was at a really good point where it was mixed and mastered. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to release it. There's little edits I got to do still on it, but it won't be stuff that people will really notice. Maybe one song that I heard I'll Be Waiting Home, I want to make it just sound more folky. So probably by the time you hear this, it'll sound a lot more folky. Hopefully it'll be fixed. It's weird, you know, that's the thing. So I finished it last night, I released it, we've been working on it for months and months, and a couple things happened. One, I'm just like looking around for other stuff to work on. I was just like, fuck. Like, it's such a weird thing. It happens like every time I finish a big project. But since it's only a third of it, I just did some work on the Volume 2. And then I was like, dude, you need to just stop. You need to relax. And then another thing that I did was I was thinking about this girl and a little bummed out about this lady. And it's just so stupid to be like, it's like the common theme of this podcast is I just have such a hard time enjoying accomplishments and enjoying the now and being in the now. It's like the most common theme. Like, just like that quote in Empire Strikes Back where Yoda's like, never on where he is, what he was doing. It's a horrible Yoda, but I tried. And I tried right there to do Yoda, and the try failed. Anyway, it's just like this common theme, but so I went on a date yesterday, like a real date. This girl asked me out. She came into my work, and the next day she dropped off a note, and we went on a date. I'm doing this story backwards, but that's okay. I'm doing this story backwards. So she gives me a note. We go on this date, and we're on this date. We go eat. We're talking. We're hanging out, and it immediately kind of, she talks about magic, like the Grant Morrison. I mean, not the same. Grant Morrison's a chaos magician, but the idea behind it. She's talking about you know, Wiccan and being in a coven, and she just, you know, she's talking about like all this kind of stuff that, I mean, I know a little bit about. I can't think of paganism. Is that what it is? I can't think of it. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I just can't think of the word. But it's fuck, what's that fucking word for it? I can't think of the word. It doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter in a way, but she's involved in magic. She's involved in like the earth kind of magic, which I can't think of the name of it right now. Pagan's different, I'm pretty sure. But she's involved in like, it's kind of like Wiccan or whatever. It's kind of like that stuff. Just saying it's cool that I'm into it. I'm trying to get more into it. I'm on this date with this lady that's like, we're not even like 5-10 minutes into the conversation and we're talking about that stuff. And the date's really nice and it goes really well and it's really easy to talk to her and it's fun and it's cool and she's really interesting and pretty and she's kind of nerdy too, you know. She likes Game of Thrones and stuff like that, so we have a lot in common in that way too. So she reads books. She's like read all the Game of Thrones books, which I think is important. I don't know, I think it's important for girls to read books, but not for girls to read books, for people to read books. I want to be around people that do stuff that encourages me to be better. People read, that's a good thing. Anyways, if I'm gonna date a girl, I should say, I like that she reads books. We're on this date, we hang out, we kiss, we go get ice cream. I know, I'm excited because I just send in the 2 last songs I need to get mastered that I feel like are songs that are gonna be so drastically different sounding that it does matter if I make edits on them later. It does matter if I release them in the state they were in. So I send out those 2 songs and I just say to the mastering guy, I was like, if you can get this today, it's the first day of summer, I really want to get my album, at least the first third of it out and release the rest of it this summer. But I would love to just get something out. I didn't say this to him, but I've had kind of a hard year dealing with this album. Just the idea that it's taken so long, it's just been kind of hard for me. I wanted it to be out by now. I'm 31. I feel like I really need to just start playing a lot of shows and get on the road. I feel like I need to get on tour and make music videos and do this stuff, but I really want to focus and finish on this album. So I emailed the guy the songs, and I'm going on this date, and so I do that in the morning. We meet up at noon, and we hang out from noon to 5, and it's awesome. And on the date I see that, well anyways, we go get ice cream, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're walking by the river, we walk by, we got like this Thai rolled ice cream, y'all probably know about it, it was delicious, it was so good. And I was excited, I was like fuck it, I'm gonna get ice cream. I was fucking celebrating, I just sent in these 2 songs, it's the first day of summer, this guy might send them back, and I'll really be able to release my album, and I'll be able to see all 9 albums on my website, like, intact, you know, one only a third of the way done, but still a full album's worth of material on it, just 2/3 of it coming. But I just visualized for so long seeing those albums. I just wanted to see those albums on my website like that, all 9 in a row, and I finally did it. Well, I knew that could happen, so I was like, I'm gonna get ice cream, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna talk, we're gonna have fun. And then on it, I look at my phone really fast to see if I get the email. I get the email, the guy sent them in. He's like, yeah, dude, here they are. And I'm like, cool, man, I'm just excited. I'm like, fuck yeah, I got all the songs ready to go. So we eat ice cream, then we go get coffee, tea, we go to a park, we walk around the lake, we kiss. Like, it's a really nice date, 5 hours of talking. And I didn't get bored, and it was fun. And, but she lives in Lake Tahoe. And I'm only gonna see her every couple weeks, every 3 weeks, if that. And I just had so many thoughts, man. Like, we go on this one date, and I'm just having, it's nighttime. So we go on this date, she leaves. I'm like, all right, I'll see you in 3 weeks, because that's when the next time we can see each other. And I go home, and I get the album up, organized, boom, put it on Bandcamp, put it on SoundCloud, because I'm not going to put it on Spotify and everything till all 33 songs are done. So, and put it on iTunes till all the album is done. So, I do it. This thing I've been wanting to do forever, for months and months, and I've been working on for years, really. Some of these songs are 10 years old that are coming out. So I've been working on the album, though, for like 4 years. And 4.5 years, really. Probably, I don't know, maybe more than that. I don't know. I've been working on this 9th album, this epic album, for a long time, figuring out what songs are going to go on it, writing the songs for it, working on it. I don't know how albums are made. I just do it. It's the only way I know how to explain it. Like, how do you make albums? You just make it. And then you just make another one. I don't know how it all works, but this album took a long time, and I made it. I've been thinking about it for months. And instead of being just fucking excited, I'm thinking about this girl that I just barely met, I went on my first date with, and I'm not going to see her for 3 weeks, and I'm just like, kind of maybe sad about that or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm in over my fucking head already. Like, I just met her, and I'm not like here enjoying this thing I've been working on for years. For years and years. When I started recording it in 2014. So it's just been 3.5 years since I started recording it. Let alone how long it takes to write. That's what I mean. I don't know how long this stuff takes. It doesn't matter. You just make it. I'm not logging. I don't have a fucking time shift thing that you log into. But, I've been working on this for so long, and just to be bummed and sad about this person I just met was like so ridiculous. And I just realized, like, I have to just tell her, like, I had fun, but I can't do this. That's cool, you're into magic. I mean, a lot of people are into magic, and I mean, I do think that's really cool. We get along, but like, I don't want to get along with someone I see once a month or twice a month. Because let's say I go on tour. I'm like thinking, is that selfish? Because I know I'm going to tour at some points, but I'm still going to like make time. I mean, I'm in over my head. I'm in over my fucking head already, thinking this far ahead. I don't know how to deal with ladies. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to work this stuff. But I do know that right now in my life I want something more. Like, I was talking about taking a bus up to Lake Tahoe. I don't have my car fixed right now, but I was talking about I don't have my car fucking registered or ready to go or fixed right now. I don't have my car registered, and I don't want to drive right now. And I'm thinking about taking a bus up to Tahoe to go see her. I'm like, I just want to met this lady. I'm going to take an hour-long bus ride up there. And it'd be fun and cool, and well, what the fuck? What the fuck? I need to get this. I have shit to do, man. I got stuff to do, so it's just, I don't know. I want to be with someone that is closer, but I do want to be with someone. It was nice to like kiss someone. We didn't kiss a ton, but like, it was nice to kiss someone that I cared about and that I liked. And that's something I really want, because it was a nice like wash from the last lady who was just a really bad lady. She just wasn't a good person, and the fact that I was in bed with her really woke me up, I hope, to being, you know, the company you keep is very important. This is gonna die, so before I start talking about, oh, there's more. There's more. I'll talk this monologue I'll do, and then I'll do the Grant Morrison stuff. I always have a wrinkle on my forehead. I'm always so stressed. Why am I always like that? I don't know. It's just always like that as a kid. I messaged. I kind of did this because I was going on the date, but I also just wanted to do it, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and obviously I've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but this last week or so I've been writing a big, long email to Orthahontas, the lady that I've written, the woman that I've written like all these songs about. For the 9th album, the 8th album, I wrote most of the lyrics about her. The 7th album I wrote about her, and then I have more songs coming out later this year as singles that are all about her. And so I guess, I don't know. I wanted to write her, and I wrote this long email, and it's just ridiculous. Like, how do you write an email or a letter saying everything you want to say to someone that's so important to you, so that you love so profoundly? So I had this huge long email, and I wasn't going to send it to her. I was going to write her a message to be like, hey, here's all the stuff I wanted to say to you in person. If that's like a lot of pressure, because I wanted to get tea with her, and I messaged her every couple years. So I finally just I was like, fuck it, dude. I went and sat on my lawn. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful evening. I'm like, I'm just going to message her. I knew my album was coming out the next day, hopefully. So this is on the 20th, the 21st. This is the 22nd now. On the 20th, I'm sitting on my lawn knowing that it'll come out on the 21st, on the first day of summer. And the rest will come out during the rest of the summer. At the very least, I'll have something out, some yielding result of all these years of work, because I was just getting so much pressure, you know. I'm kind of releasing it in volumes, like a comic book is how I'm thinking of it now. But it's like being full of farts and gas, and I just needed to fart it out. But I knew I was going to fart a big fart the next day artistically, which is to alleviate some of the pressure. And now I still have just 2/3 of farts, still uncomfortable, still a lot of farts, but I'll fart it out by the end of this summer, I hope. Well, I just started thinking about farts. Okay, but no, so I'm sitting on my lawn, and I'm on my lawn. I'm sitting there on my lawn, a beautiful evening, and I just write her a message. I just say, here's the stuff. It's pretty short, actually. I wrote it like I went and drafted over it like 5 times because I heard such a great quote that said, I would have made it shorter, but I didn't have the time. Like, sorry my letter's so long. I would have made it shorter, but I didn't have the time. I was like, that's such a good fucking quote. So I went over it like 5 times and made sure it was really poignant and everything I wanted to say, and just condensed and, you know, just short and to the point and honest. And she wrote me back like immediately, and she's like, I said, like, sorry I message you every couple years without an agenda. I really want to see you. Here's what I want to say. I want to say thank you for all this music, for inspiring me, for that. You know, just for being a great friend. 2, I want to say I'm sorry for not going to your graduation and staying home. 3, I said, even if you don't want me to go, I wish I would have gone. I don't know if you wanted me to go. That's not the point, but I wish I would have gone to a graduation. It was a big deal that I didn't go. It was stupid. And I stayed home, and it was just dumb. 3, I wanted to ask her if I could release these songs that I wrote about her, and Orthahontas, who I've mentioned so many times on this podcast, you know, and I asked her if I could release these songs because I think they'll help people, you know, more than they're doing now, and maybe help me move on. But I'm also, like, when I see her, I'm going to tell her that I love her still. because I think she should know that, and I would want to know that. And so, you know, I didn't say that in the message, but I did just say, you know, I wanted to release those songs, and she just wrote back and she's like, hey, I'll message you. I've got an exam tomorrow, but I've got a big exam tomorrow. I've got a board exam. I'll message you later tomorrow. She didn't message me the next day, but it's okay. It's a lot to think about. I mean, but she was like, you never have to say sorry. Like, you know, we were, some people you're just gonna have a relationship with, or a profound relationship with. So it was cool to do that. Finally message her and commit. And I said, and I said, like, I will come anytime to get tea with you. I will make it happen. Anytime you want, I will come, and I will make that. Anytime you want to get tea, I will come and get tea with you. And so that I just and so that was kind of the point. But it was nice to do that, to finally fully commit and be like, I will come see you anytime. To the next day, release the first third of the album, which again alleviated some of the how awesome it would have been if I had a fart, though I didn't. Alleviate some of the gas and just some of the pressure that's been built up. Okay, 21-minute intro. Then let's get into some grand talk after I switch the batteries here. I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but one time we were all hanging out at my friend's house, and one of my friends had his girlfriend here, and one of my friends said, man, I think it's really dumb that the Lord of the Rings movies don't say based on J.R.R. Tolkien's books on the poster. Like, I know they say it in the movie, but they should put it on the poster. And then this other guy's girlfriend said, well, it's not like they based the movies on the books anyway. And everybody went silent. And he audibly leaned in and said, don't talk anymore. And that is growing up in Utah, dude. I don't know if it's growing up in Utah, but that's just, for me, that's a funny story. Okay, here we go. The three comic... Pardon me. The three comic book authors that have made me cry are Brian Michael Bendis. I started reading comics because of Ultimate Spider-Man. I love that fucking book so much. I love Brian Michael Bendis' writing and Mark Bigley's art, and I've cried from them. Brian K. Vaughan is the second author. I've cried off of his stuff. Saga, I'm sure other stuff too. And then thirdly, the one who's made me cry the most, I'm sure, my favorite author of any medium, any written medium, non-musical, non-movie medium, was Grant Morrison. He's my favorite. They're all three bald, is why I wanted to bring that up. They've all made me cry. They're all comic book authors, and they're all bald, like me. Or more accurately, I'm like them, because I started shaving my head because of Grant Morrison. Because he's bald and he's awesome. And I have this, I just got this week. So synchronicity is a huge part of magic. And magic is when well, I'll go into magic a little bit. You know, you might probably already know what it is, but it's not like Harry Potter stuff. But anyways, I got that this week. I knew that this episode was being recorded. I got that this week. I got Heavy Metal Magazine, issue 386, which he has an article about magic, about chaos magic. And then my friend, who was borrowing, excuse me, all my Grant Morrison comics, not all of them, but a few of them, he was borrowing The Filth. He was borrowing Invisibles, Volume 1. He was borrowing Invisibles Volume 1. And then he was borrowing the actual comic book versions of Flex Mentala, which I have. I have the trade paperback here, but I also have the real ones here. And I have this statue of the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, which is a character based on, well, it's an old Batman costume, but Grant Morrison invented him, and basically it's Batman. When Bruce Wayne has been broken down completely, it's like his system shuts down and resets, and he just becomes pure Batman, and that's Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. And he like made that in the trash and made that outfit out of like clothes he just found in a garbage can or like a dumpster. And he goes and he basically they try to tear Bruce Wayne down, and when they do, they unleash the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, which is Bruce Wayne, pure Batman. But so, I've got a ton of stuff. I don't have everything by him. I want to get a lot more. But it was cool to get all that stuff this week, the week that I'm recording this podcast. I knew I was going to do this as episode 4. And so, I don't know, it's just really cool. Really cool that it all came together and I got all the stuff, because The Filth, and that's not the original version of The Filth that I bought, but The Filth and Invisibles Volume 1 are the first 2 Grant Morrison comic books that I got when I walked into a comic book shop about 10 years ago. Right now. Yeah, really. About 10 years ago. And I was really into Brian K. Vaughan. I was really into Brian Michael Bendis. Into the Ultimate Universe, because the 616 universe was just too big for me to comprehend at the time, and I didn't know how to get into it, and now I'm into it. Chris Claremont, I love. Chris Claremont's X-Men is the X-Men to me. Like, that shit's some of my favorite writing ever. And also Grant Morrison's new X-Men is also the X-Men to me, because that shit's amazing too. So I go into this store, the comic book store, and I say to the guy, "Give me the juice, man. Give me the good shit." I mean, I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. So I was like, "Dude, give me the fucking Mr. Fantastic. Are you okay? Get on up there, buddy. Get on up there, buddy." Excuse me. So I go in and I'm like, "Dude, just give me the fucking real deal Holyfield shit, please." Give me the good stuff. And I'm like, "Who's the best comic book author?" And he's like, "Dude, well, come here." And he said to read Scott Pilgrim, which I didn't for like 9 years, and Scott Pilgrim's amazing. I wish I would have read it sooner. It's just incredible. And then he said to read Grant Morrison. And he took me over, and there was like, I guess like a whole, it was like probably like the employee picks or whatever pile. And he had like a whole bunch of Grant Morrison things. And he pulls out the softcover version of The Filth, and he pulls out Invisibles Volume 1 and The Filth. And he says, "Grant Morrison." And he's like, I think he wanted to he's just like, this is the hardest stuff that he's written. Like, this is like really deep in this, this is really deep in the weeds Morrison stuff. And I was like, whatever, dude, I can read it, man. I can read anything. Give it to me. I want the hardest stuff to read. And then I go home and I open up The Invisibles and I open up to page 1. And I just start reading it, and I don't know, I don't totally remember, but God damn it, Mr. Fantastic. I didn't get what was going on. I'll just say that. I didn't understand. I probably read maybe the first issue, if that, but it was just different than any comic, anything I had ever read before, and I just was not ready for it. And especially as a kid who'd like never done any drugs or done anything psychedelic. I know I'm just looking at it, and I'm just looking at it now. It doesn't look that weird to me, but it was really weird to me then. You probably can't see it, but you know. And it's this kid. He's like throwing a Molotov cocktail he's about to throw a Molotov cocktail, and then I don't know. So this starts off like this. And so we return and begin again. Capephra, the sacred beetle, goes down into darkness and rises again, bearing the sun in his mandibles. Some say that when we leave this planet, we will leave as insects. When our bodies are no longer needed, we will send out our spirits as a swarm of golden beetles, carrying out the sun of pure understanding out of the abyss to our new home among the stars. Some people will say anything to be thought of as clever and interesting. I did as you asked, and I searched the desert for a sign pertaining to your current endeavor. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. So what are you Nice and smooth. So what do you got? So what have you got for me, Elfade? Truth speak, best in the language of poetry and symbolism, I think. And those old Egyptians would wrap up anything. Look, a scarab mummified. What do you say to that? What do you say to that, my friend? And then it's the kid. He's throwing a Molotov cocktail. Kids. And then the kid sees a spray painting. And then King Mob is talking to the head of the Invisibles. But basically, it was just not something I understood. And I was like, okay, well, look at the filth. Let me check the filth out. And the filth is the craziest thing in the fucking world, man. Filth is still the weirdest comic book I've ever read. Hands down. And also just the weirdest thing I've ever read. It's like a video of this guy buying porn. I'm not going to do this justice by any means. The guy's buying porn, goes home on a bus. Some secret agent looking lady looks at him and says something, or doesn't look at him, but just says, "Don't fuck with the filth." He goes home. He's just a regular guy in a way. Just kind of a regular dude. He's got a cat. But and all of a sudden he goes into his... It's just weird, man. I don't even want to spoil it. It just gets fucking weird as shit. And I couldn't understand it at all. It was just way too esoteric, way too weird for me. And so I would pick it up every once in a while and try reading it. And I would not I would just not understand what's going on. Then John Lennon and Paul McCartney are in it. And you're like, what? That's kind of weird. This is just incredible. This is just incredible. Again, I won't be doing this justice in any means, showing it here, but it's incredible art. That's John Lennon's head. That's John Lennon. Just really real. It's just the fucking... It's just fucking amazing. You know, it's just the best. But I didn't understand at the time. I couldn't get it. So pick it up every once in a while, and then I would just not understand it. And in that not understanding, kind of just stop. And then one day, because I used to be able to read at work. Because I worked at a movie theater, and like, when you didn't have anything to do, you could read. I mean, it was fucking incredible. You just gotta read, get paid to read, basically. And our manager was cool, and everything was cool, and people were... It was really fun and nice. And he was a really nice guy. And as long as like you did your work and made sure things looked good, you could read. And I would read comics, and I kind of... I don't want to say I ran out of comics, but eventually like I was just like, I'm gonna fucking try those comic books again. And at this point, this is... I guess this is 2011, maybe 2010, but it's like 6-7 years ago. And I'm at work, at the movie theater, and I bring the comic books in. And I've since had mushroom, I've since smoked weed, I've since taken mushrooms, I've gotten more into Buddhism, Taoism, things like that. I've gotten more into those kind of ideas. Then I'm reading The Invisibles, I'm reading The Filth at work. I might have read them one at a time, I don't remember if I read them both in one day. What I do know is, I was like, who the fuck is Grant Morrison? That shit was amazing. Like, I finally understood it. And I don't mean to like, oh, you need to smoke weed to understand it. I just needed to smoke weed to understand it. Like, I came to work fucking baked. And I was just sober when I first tried to read them, like a sober guy. Like, I never did anything. And so now I smoked weed and stuff, and it fucking... Like, they really blew my fucking mind. They're incredible works. They really are. Two of the best things I've ever read. And just that they were sitting on my bookshelf for so long without me touching them, you know, for like 4 years or so, without me reading them, was just so cool. And it was perfect timing for me because I had just made Monkey Man. I had just kind of gotten out of a thing with this lady. And I just made Monkey Man, and I just started dating Orthahontas, so going back to her, who I just messaged recently, but I just started dating her, and things were popping, things were changing, and reading those books, I'm like, who is Grant Morrison? I go home, I get on Google, like, who the hell is Grant Morrison? Who the fuck is Grant Morrison? This guy's crazy, this is the craziest book I've ever read, like, the fucking Filth is just... I mean, I just opened to a random page. Look at that art. I mean, that's beyond, it's not psychedelic, that's, I mean, it's cool, that's pictures manipulated. I don't want to give too big a spoiler alert on these, but let's see, just a random page. This is a cool page, but I want something that shows. That's a better example. Like, that is just insane. And then trying to decipher what's going on. And it's still like every time I read it, I feel like I learn something new. It's my favorite. This Flex Mentallo and the Invisibles are part of like a trilogy he did. And they're just incredible. They're connected, I think, just thematically. But they're all three so fucking good. And it just, I don't know. It blew my mind. I Google his name. First video that I watch. It's just a video of him at this. He's like at a podium. He's giving a talk, a lecture. I start it, and it just starts with this really loud scream, and the scream scared me so much. But the scream fucking, I think, woke me up in more ways than one. You know, it really like shook me, which is what I think he wanted. I mean, this is a con that happened years and years ago. It was this thing called DisinfoCon, and Disinfo was a magazine, I'm pretty sure, maybe a website at the time too, but a magazine that was just very about alternative information, alternative views of thinking, alternative ways of viewing things. And I'm just going to play this. I'm going to take a hit, sit down. Actually, I'm not going to play that right now. I would suggest you just, if you're watching this actually, if you made it 35 minutes in, I'm not going to play it because it's not going to do it justice. You just press pause and go go search. After you know what I'm telling you to press pause about, if you press pause right now, you're not going to know. Pause this in a second or two, however long it takes me to tell you, to go Google Grant Morrison and watch his DisinfoCon speech and have the speakers up loud and get shook by his scream and listen to him talk. Get shaken by his scream, listen to him talk, and he talks about magic, and he talks about how corporations use magic and that symbols and sigils and things, even like the McDonald's symbol is a sigil, that McDonald's symbol is a magic. And every time we see that sign, it's like we have things encoded in us and responses encoded in us by their commercials, which is like hypnotism. And he doesn't just talk about that. It's just one thing, but that was one thing I remember that just blew my mind. Like, oh, I've never thought of that before. Like, and it's a way of just reframing, but he talks about magic and chaos magic, and he talks about doing sigils. And sigils are, I can show that. I'm not going to even do justice to his explanation of any of this stuff, but this is just a clip from, again, pause it, go watch the whole thing, but this, come back, and this is a clip from it.
Leading on from these ridiculous, where do you go from that? I was told this stuff when I come out. I'm just this little kid from Govan in Glasgow, which is a real dodgy area. And I didn't go to university, I left school at 18, but suddenly I found out that if you do these things that you're told by Alistair Crowley, by Wilson, by all these people we read and all these people we've been consuming, but we don't do it, if you actually do what they say, things happen. Things occur exactly as it's described, and we can all do it. So I decided to put this to use in the comic book that I was doing, this thing called The Invisibles. And the idea was to kind of get all this down on paper and somehow look at it, not to accept it as reality, to accept it as purely this is part of human experience. It's a part of human experience that has been described to us for thousands and thousands of years, but for the last 200 has been hidden and made occult. for some reason that I don't understand. It seems to have to do with the Industrial Revolution and corporate culture. So these things happen. Magic works. And when I started doing the comic, I found that you could actually make magic happen by writing things and changing the operating system of the universe. It works, and I'm here to tell you to try it when you go home tonight, because it fucking works. And what happens if we all do it? Everyone in this room decides to take control of reality. I'm talking about reality, I'm talking about quantum physics, I'm talking about taking control of things from the quantum level up, from the molecular level up, and it works. This magic works. So I'll tell you something you can do while I'm here. One of the best techniques and one of the easiest techniques to prove that this thing works is to practice sigil magic. The technique is simple. Have a desire tonight. Go home and do this. Don't listen to this shit. Don't listen to my bullshit and go home and think, yeah, we are the fucking counterculture. Do it! Do it, and we will change the world. Because I did it. I didn't trust those guys. I didn't trust Wilson. I didn't trust those people who told me we could do this stuff. And I'm here to tell you it works, and you can do it. We can all do it. Number one, first thing you do, write down a desire. Make it something easy that is likely to happen, something possible, rather than say, you know, I'm going to be king of the moon, which you may want to be, as we all do, but it's kind of hard to be king of the moon. You're going to have to get a rocket and go up there. So pick something easy. If you want to sigilise for a lottery win, make sure you buy a ticket, or else it won't work. So these are the conditions within the material universe that we live in. One of the things we're actually dealing with is as I say, some kind of operating system that can be hacked using words. And words seem to be the binding agent for this thing, whatever it is. So I wrote this comic book, and as I wrote it, it became true. Things I would make the characters do became true. The main character was, I gave him a bald head and a leather jacket because I thought people would like me when they read the comic. And bald heads were really uncool back in 1992.
Okay, I'm gonna put that clip in, add a little work, but it'll be worth it for you to actually watch him. Okay, so that was him talking about. I'm gonna listen to it. Fuck, I do.
And it worked. I found that if I put the character through a situation where he was being tortured, where his lungs had burst and he was being held in captivity and subjected to all these awful things, 3 months later I'm in hospital, 2 burst lungs, dying of blood poisoning and facing exactly the same shamanic trial that I put my character through. So once I figured out that, I thought, well, the best thing to do is give this guy an easy time. So as a result of this, I just split up with my girlfriend, and I said, okay, I want a new one. I want it to look exactly like this chick in the comic, because she's cool. So I did a sigil. A month later, the girl turns up. Then another one, then another one, then another one, then another one. All aspects of this character, and I realised, oh fuck, this is insane. Because it works, and I've done something ridiculous, because now I'm dealing with all these women who look like the character, but I don't get on with, or I can't talk to, or I can't deal with. And I began to realise a little bit about how this stuff works. So beyond that, I decided I won't just use it to get laid, because it seems pretty pretty low grade kind of way of dealing with magic. but man, it works, believe me. And I thought, how much could you affect reality by writing a comic that mimicked reality but pushed it in weird directions? So around about 1997, I decided I would really seriously turn the thing into a super sigil. And it was based on the idea of, if you look at cave art, the first art was done, the first writing was done basically as art. And if someone wanted to make something happen, like if you were some like fucked up caveman in a cave somewhere moaning about your dinner, what do? You draw a bison on the wall, stick some spears in it, go out, and the bison dies filled with spears. And hey man, we can make this happen. Slowly those things become letters, they become words, they become reduced to abstractions, complexes of meaning. And you can take that basic idea And as we've seen, people like Austin Osman Spare, the magician from the early part of the century, or Crowley, or the Chaos magicians from the 80s, who were a big inspiration on me, they used this stuff. And what you can do is this, like I said, try this at home. Write down a desire. Quite simple, say it is my desire that my cat wins the Olympics. Take out all the vowels. Right? Write this down for fuck's sake and do it. Don't just listen, do it, right? Take out the vowels and you'll be left with a string of consonants. Take out the repeated consonants and you'll be left with a string of consonants that have no repeats in it, whatever, X, Y, A, D, whatever. Turn that thing into a little image. Take the D, draw a big D, then you've got a T, draw a T under it, and keep reducing it down until it looks magical. And there are no rules for this thing. Do it until it looks magical. At that point, you now have a sigil. The sigil will work. You can project desire into reality and change reality. It works. Those must be the people who've done it. So please, write this down, go home and do it, and check it, verify the results, because scientific procedure, I was reading this thing in New Scientist this weekend, they said the difference between bad science and good science is that scientific procedure has 3 criteria, and the criteria are that you can verify results, you can talk to other people who've done the thing and make sure, that it works out, you can duplicate results, and also some other thing I've forgotten. But yeah, 2 things is fucking good, isn't it? 2. This is verifiable. People have been telling us about this for thousands of years. The Tibetans have been telling us about this. The Mesopotamians have been telling us about this. And why has it been made occult? Because Coca-Cola have got the secret. These people know what we're talking about here, because what you do is you create a sigil. Coca-Cola is a sigil. The McDonald's M is a sigil. These people are basically turning the world into themselves using sigils. And if we don't reverse that process and turn the world into us using sigils, we're going to be living in fucking McDonald's.
That's so cool. Oy. So cool. Anyways, I love that clip. I love that clip, and I tried it. I was home, and I did a sigil. I don't know exactly when, but I did one, and it worked the very next day. And as a Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris style atheist, I was blown the fuck away that sort of this mystical thing happened. And this thing that he said would work, and then it worked. He said to just try it, and I was like, alright, I'll try it. And then it worked. And I went overboard with it and started doing a ton of sigil work. And doing things that I shouldn't have done sigil work about. And doing things that I shouldn't have with it. But I learned my lessons, and recently I've been coming more back to magic, but it was still something that really blew my mind that it worked. And it really did for me. It works for me. It worked for me, and works for me, I should say. Magic works. So as a Richard Dawkins atheist style guy, I did it, and then I'm thinking, like, my whole world's just like blown. I'm like, what? Magic? What? Like, you can actually influence the world? You can influence experiences to happen? And I was really blown away. And then I was like, no, there's no way. There's just no way. And then I'm trying to just convince myself otherwise, and this is months afterwards. I get really into it for a while, and then I kind of just like, no, I know I'm going back to the way I was thinking, and I shaved my head. Not totally going back, but just sort of like being very cautious, like, no man, you gotta be like, it's probably just coincidence or whatever. So I started shaving my head because of Grant Morrison. because I think he looks great. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm losing my hair. Let's do this. My hair's thinning. Let's fucking start shaving my head. I want to have a look, you know? I want to fucking look different, like guys that let themselves gradually lose their hair. They just look different so much. This will just be what I look like. Anyway. I got another fart. That was a fun one. I think you could hear that. I hope it doesn't smell. A few months later, so I'm sort of becoming more skeptical again, and I'm sort of just going back to being like, I don't know, man, it's just got to be a coincidence or whatever. Then I take mushrooms. I'm just thinking like, I'm going back to questioning the experience is pretty hard, and being like, it just must be a coincidence. Then I take mushrooms, and anyone who's taken mushrooms, like, there's a voice that's not your normal voice. And all that voice was telling me was that mushroom, and it was a woman. It was a woman. Which is not the voice in my head. And she was saying that magic was real, that magic was all around us, that everything was magic. Magic was pulsating in every molecule all around, that magic is the right word for what everything is, and instead of emptiness, so it's all fullness. Not all that stuff exactly, but it was like, you gotta be kidding me, magic is real, magic's happening all the time. And I was on top, we climbed Mount Rose Mountain. I'm on top of this like fucking mountain, and maybe we didn't get to the very top, but we're pretty high up. And I'm like sitting down, and that voice is just telling me like, magic is real, magic is everywhere, magic is life, like magic is real. And I looking out at all these cars, and not that I was trying to judge anyone, but I was just, the voice was saying too, like, the voice was saying too that big society, big whatever, doesn't want us to be having these kinds of experiences, that you could just, this free thing, you can just grow mushrooms and climb a fucking mountain and have your mind fucking blown for free. And it's all around us, and we're like driving around, scurrying, going to work and doing all this stuff. And I'm not saying we shouldn't work, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do that stuff, but just like, of course it's illegal, is what the voice was saying. Like, of course this is an experience they don't want people to have. You know, to lessen our desire to want material goods is not good for the gander, you know, I guess. And so it's sort of like, you realize, I mean, I just had that really cemented that magic was real. And then it became a really huge part of my life. And then I have told this story too. I'm getting into like Robert, and I'm getting into Terrence McKenna. Like, I'm getting into a lot of different people. I'm getting into magic, pretty hardcore. And the mindset of that. This is really, I feel like this is such a weird shot. I don't know. Then I kind of, you know, I'm like, oh, I've taken mushrooms, but I keep going back, man. I keep getting frustrated. I keep being myself, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm kind of asking people around if anyone's got any LSD, because I think like, oh, if I just take LSD, I'll be the purest, most enlightened, awesome, fucking Buddhist style dude ever. Like, LSD is going to be the thing that like clicks something in my brain that finally makes it so I'm fucking the best version of myself. This is my thoughts about it, alright? I know it's ridiculous, but that's what I'm thinking. And I won't have to like keep going back and back. It'll be like, people love LSD, people have had such great experiences, people talk about it all the time, and then this dude says he's got some. I shouldn't take it from him. I did. I take some, and it's not LSD. It's like probably some lemon poppy seed, the best I could figure out, extract, but some lemon poppy seed extract, but it wasn't LSD, and it like gave me tracers for a little bit. It gave me a lot of fucking those little eye floater things. I have a bunch of those now, which I didn't really have before. And it made me depressed for like a year. And I sort of stopped doing I didn't stop doing magic, but I stopped doing like a lot of the rituals and sigil type stuff because I still stuck with making music. I mean, I still think music is magic, and you know, making music is an alchemical alchemist, right? I don't know. I hope that works. Art form that you're combining the whole universe into making a song. I mean, everything we do, it's like that Carl Sagan quote, like, if you want to make an apple pie, you gotta invent the whole universe. So magic's a way of just thinking more like that, you know, and directing things and directing your life. And like that in that clip, it's like desire. So I'd write down desires and they'd come true, and it was awesome to have that experience. But you also have to, like, I don't know, for me, I also realized like I have to be really careful about what I desire and what I want to happen. And I need to really think about it. And so I just don't go willy-nilly on all that stuff. But taking that non-LSD, really, taking that bunk acid, taking that shitty LSD, taking that fake LSD, really just opened my eyes too. It made me really untrustworthy of people. I got really bad trust issues. I was like, fuck this guy. Fuck this dude. How the fuck could he do that? Like, I fucking work with this dude. He's my friend, and he gives me like shit that's not the real thing. And then he said he took it too, so it's just like bullshit, you know? Fucking made me so mad. I wanted to kick the shit out of that guy, but he had moved by that point. And that's probably why I wanted to just make some money. Jesus Christ, I felt so stupid. I mean, it's still like such an embarrassing, and I felt so dumb for doing that, and it's still such an embarrassing memory that I could just do that. And I was so careful before that, always so careful. But I just trusted him, but you go with your gut on people. That's my opinion. You go with your fucking instinct. If you think someone's a fucking... I should never shave my beard this low. This is not good. I did it too. I shouldn't do that. I look like a I look like... I don't know. I look way too bald. That doesn't work for me. I should do a 3. Alright, it'll grow out. I need to relax. But I'm also thinking about this really fucking bad memory that's pissing me off. Anywho, so I just kind of stopped doing sigils and stopped doing that kind of stuff for a little bit, and I just sort of pumped the brakes, and I got fat. I was so depressed for that whole year. And then the next year, so I take the shitty stuff, so I take that stuff, and I took it in January 2012, and I was like, this is going to be the year I turn it all around. Boop. What the fuck? And I got so depressed. And then the next year, so I'm so depressed, and I'm dating the girl after orthodontist, the one that I dated for 2 years and really didn't treat well at all. And we're dating 5 months in, I take that stuff. Then I'm so depressed, and she's just there for me, and she helps me out so much. Like, she takes care of me during that time when I just was like breaking. I was just having such a hard time dealing with my vision changing a little bit. Thank God it's back to normal, but I was just like, I'm a fucking film director, and now I fucking, what the fuck is going on? So she really took care of me. And then that whole year, 2012, and then the beginning of 2013 is when orthodontist came into town and told me she loved me, and I didn't tell her I loved her back. And I wish I would have, but it was such a complex situation where I was dating this other woman that had just taken care of me so much, and then, you know, all these excuses, but at the end of the day, it's like I was a coward for not just being like, okay, I love you, you know, I do. This is the honest truth, you know, like living the truth instead of just trying to like not hurt anyone. In the end, you just hurt a lot more people in those kinds of situations, I've realized. So then I was super depressed because I was like, I'm a fucking little bitch for not doing that. Because by the time I told her that I loved her back too, she's like, I don't know, she was, or the honest was going to Mexico, and she's like, I meant it as a friend. And I was like, oh gosh, she meant as a friend, my ass. I just fucked up. I just fucked up that situation. So then I'm just depressed, and I'm still dating that other lady, even though I told orthodontist I loved her, and I kiss another girl. And let's just say I'm not like living my highest self right then. And then thankfully that lady breaks up with me, and I haven't dated anyone since. But I wasn't living my highest self, to say the least, and not doing a lot of magic too at the time. I was making a lot of music and such, but I wasn't doing any kind of ceremonial, I wasn't doing any kind of chaos magic, because I also just wasn't being my highest version of myself. I definitely feel like that's the lowest since like junior high, morally, that I was living, where I was just lying. And I only kissed the girl once, but it was enough to be like, you gotta break up with someone. You can't just keep dating someone. I don't know. I guess you could keep dating them if it was never going to happen again, and it didn't happen again. But if it was never going to happen again, and you were going to really commit to them. But this was like, I was just hanging on for the comfort, and hanging on for the, because she was so awesome. But ultimately I knew I didn't want to marry her and date someone for long enough. But I knew before that too. I mean, I shouldn't have dated her for as long as I did. Whatever. I need to stop fucking living this narrative or thinking about this narrative. So that's a nice thing about this podcast, is that story. I feel like, okay, I'm bored of that. It's like Chuck Palahniuk says, like, you have something in your life that's kind of, you're thinking about a lot, like, write about it until it doesn't bother you anymore. So I know now where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't cheat on a girl, or I just live honestly now, because it's so exhausting to lie. And don't lie to be selfish. Don't lie for selfish reasons, because it's just exhausting. So, needless to say, magic's something I've recently gotten back into the last couple years, or the last year, because I felt, especially since meditating, because meditating I think is part of magic. Your will is the biggest part of magic. Your will is what directs and focuses your life. And so I got my life back on track, or as Your Mom's House podcast started to get my life, as they would say, because you need to get your life, they say. Alright, I'm getting kind of tired, but I don't want to be boring, so that's kind of, I guess, where that's at as far as the story of magic. And now I'm going to talk about how much I love Grant Morrison. Because that's an autographed poster I got this week, which is so cool. And I got all my comics back, and I'm not going to let anyone borrow them, because I'm always like a prophet for him. I always try, or like I don't know, I always try to let people know about his work and let people borrow it. But then it's like, fuck, they like it and they want to keep, I don't know, just letting people borrow stuff can be complex. But now it's like, look, that's a whole drawer of stuff. I don't have Joe the Barbarian, I don't have Multiversity, I don't have Wonder Woman Earth 1, I don't have Marvel Boy, I don't have a lot of stuff, but I do have a lot of his stuff. But that's sort of my story. Now I'm just, doing this podcast this last year, I tried to really get into all this stuff that I love, like comic books, nerdy movies, Star Wars. I've really tried to find myself, as they say again. But when you're fucking making a podcast like this, it's really hard not to see who you are. It's like, oh, these are the things I talk about so much. These are the things that I do so much, or these are whatever. I'll never fully be able to know all how to fully improve. This helped me improve myself, I should say. I hope. But it's also helped me just get into stuff again. And magic's really important to me. I love doing chaos magic. I love thinking in those terms and thinking with those metaphors. And so to sort of be reframing my life in that way is really great, because I do. And music is magic, and music is magic. Music is a magical work of art. Like an album is an art form, and it's a magical work. It's an alchemy of so many things to make an album, and it's this really magical, spiritual thing. I think I'm trying to. Magic's a word that encompasses so much, but I don't want it to not have any meaning, I guess is what I'm saying when I'm saying it. So let me read a quote from this issue of Heavy Metal Magazine of Grant Morrison's. Magic equals meaning, or to put it another way, life plus significance equals magic. Mind confers meaning upon matter. Mind is nourished and sustained by the meaning it assigns to matter. Matter is elevated and ennobled to magic by the meaning mind attributes to it. It's a winning transaction, an erotic snake dance, a slinky menage a trois that makes the world go round and round and up and down. Your will, like, do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Like, what's your ultimate will? For me, like, my ultimate will is to make great art that elevates, engages, and alleviates pain. Not all those things pain. That engages people, like spiritually or emotionally, that elevates people or elevates an experience or elevates an understanding of a situation. I want to make something that's meaningful. Like, I feel like great art for me, oh, I understand that situation differently. Even like something like The Flash, it's kind of goofy to say, but like there'll be like an episode of The Flash or some aspect of The Flash that, oh, everyone thinks about this kind of stuff. So to elevate some emotional understanding or some emotional experience, elevate understanding. And then alleviate pain or alleviate pressure or alleviate anxiety through creating something that's engaging enough or transcendent enough to make a luminous experience. I mean, that's what I want to do. I feel like that's my purpose. I've done that before, and I'm going to keep doing that as much as I can. I feel like that's my goal and my will on earth. And so it's magical for me to will that and to do that. And that's the way I want to frame that. It's magical for me. What I mean is it's a path of magic to do that, to focus your will, to say, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. Because I have a talent and ability to do that. And to not do it is to spit that in the face. If you love doing something that you're really good at, that's crazy to not do it. If you hate something you're really good at, that makes sense. If you love something you suck at, you should do that too. That's fine. But I have abilities and opportunities based on my talent that I need to take advantage of, and I feel like it's my ultimate will that going back to Joseph Campbell and following your bliss, it's my bliss, and that's what I love to do, and that's why I work at it, but it's also what I think I'm here to do. It's like a snake eating its own tail, an Ouroboros, but that's what I love, and so I'm glad to be back in that mindset of magic and thinking about magic and doing magic and not being afraid of it, because taking the LSD stuff made me afraid of magic. I don't know why, but just the way I associate it was like, oh, I did this. Like I felt like I got burned or something, but it was my fault, and I just realize now that I can get back into magic and have that be a part of my life, and that's exciting because it's important to me to have rituals, and again, going back to magic and rituals, these things, like I wake up and I meditate and I journal and I make my bed, and now this podcast is a ritual for me where I sort of, I don't know, I just talk and I just talk about stuff and these rituals, but it's magic, and we're doing magic all the time, and we cannot call it that. You know, we cannot call going to a job that we hate every single day or being in a relationship. It's hypnotism. It's a, you know, when you think about feeling enclosed, that's a suppression of mana. If you're in a relationship that someone's abusive and you can't be yourself, you're walking around eggshells, you're like trapping and suppressing in your mana, like your life force, your energy. If you're meant to be an athlete and you don't move, you're suppressing in your mana, your life force, your energy. Like if you're meant to draw comics and all you've ever done is answer phones at a call center and then go home and smoke weed and play video games, you're suppressing your mana. Like you're hiding your light, you're hiding your will. Everyone has something that is going to contribute to this world and make it better than it was when they came into it, and make it better than it was when they found it. And everyone has that ability to make the world way worser too. And I meant to say way worser, but going back to your mom's house, which is, I'll talk about them, how much I love them next episode, but I get so sidetracked sometimes. I get so I don't know what I was talking about. I can't remember at all. I felt like I was like, I'm on a roll, and then I just got stoned. But no, everyone's got, and everyone can make it the world shitty too. Everyone has that opportunity to take a knife and go into a movie theater or go into some place and just start fucking stabbing people. It's disgusting, but everyone has that ability. But you also have that ability to, you know, buy out the movie theater, I don't know, for a showing of homeless people. I don't know, whatever. But you know, we're all very, we're all very. It's, you got to be cautious. We all have really dark parts about us. We all have great parts about us. But ultimately, we can be the greatest parts of ourselves, and if we frame it in a way that it is magical, that's a magical act to transform yourself through the alchemy of reading, through the alchemy of the input, output, push, pull of new information, new habits, that you can become a higher person of yourself. And thinking about it in those terms of magic just makes it more fun and more interesting too. It makes it fun to you know, like a good, like neuro-linguistic programming is like another way of thinking about magic. Like, so instead of saying I have to go work out, or I work out 5 times a week, we go to work and then you work out after work. So you're just always working. But if you're training, if you call it training instead, if you call your diet, oh, I'm on a diet. The word die is in diet. It's already fucking shitty. Diet. Or you say, nutrition. Nutrition is nice. I had a nutritious breakfast this morning. And I did. And it felt good. But I wasn't on my diet. You know what I'm saying. You say, I'm going to go train. What are you training for? Life. Because life's always happening. You might have to pick some shit up. And if you don't pick shit up for 5 months and then 1 minute you do, you're not trained well enough to do it. So you use words, and that's a way of using magic. A way of reframing a situation that makes it more desirable, makes it more in line or in will with your desire, makes it in line with your desire and in line with your will, then, you know, if you put your desires in line, you know, I'm fucking stoned. If you put your desires in line with your will, and you put your will and your desires in line with your action, that's magic. That's alchemy. That's, and then using your words as a way of, you know, it's like that episode of South Park where it's like, we don't have to go to church. We get to go to church. And then he takes out a bag and he barfs shit into a bag. Because it's cheesy to say stuff like that. I don't know. It's a great joke. South Park's so funny. This has been a fun little series talking about stuff I love. And now we're going to talk about Grant Morrison. So, Grant Morrison is numero uno, the best. This is the worst pipe. I smoked so much weed out of this pipe. It just shoots ash. It's small. It just shoots ash. It's as big as my nose. All right. Animal Man. If I was going to read Grant Morrison and I didn't smoke weed and I was not super inclined to, like, you have to read Invisibles. You have to understand, like, you have to really, really read it, the words really well to know what's going on. And same thing with The Filth. This is a superhero, Animal Man. This is more traditional. I don't know, traditional is not the right word, but see, he gets his arm ripped off, but because he's an animal man, he's got superpowers, get to the earthworms underneath the ground, and his arm is back. Right there, you see his arm. Booyah. Good work, Animal Man. It's just fucking incredible. I don't want to spoil this stuff. I didn't really read. There's things about this comic book that when you get into volume 2 and 3, and volume 1's amazing. There's parts in volume 1. I mean, there's stuff that might make you rethink reality. And it did for me. And I kind of want to talk about it, but I also don't want to. If I could make one move easily, if I got, for some reason, someone's like, hey, you want $100 million and make a superhero movie? What do you want to make? I'd be like, I'll take $50 million, and I'm going to make Animal Man. And then I'm going to take that other $50 million, and then make Animal Man 2. And then give me like 60 more million, and I'll make Animal Man 3. Free it up, dog! Because I would not want to make it into one movie. I wouldn't. They're making the Dark Phoenix saga. This is the set. So, first movie, X-Men Apocalypse, which is ridiculous to have the first shit that happens to the X-Men be, in this new chronology since the reset of Days of Future Past. Have the first fucking fight be with Apocalypse. That's really silly. I turned that movie off. That movie sucks ass. I don't care who that offends. I don't mean to offend anyone, but that was the right turn. But the movie sucks. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I mean, everyone knows that movie sucks. X-Men Apocalypse. That's the worst X-Men movie. And it's saying a lot because Wolverine Origins sucks. Anyways, they're making the Dark Phoenix, the second one. Again, it's going to suck too. There's no way to make... that needs to be 2 movies. The Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix. You can't just go to the Dark Phoenix and be like, who's the Phoenix? Be like, fuck it. It's the Dark Phoenix. The Phoenix is a character. Jean Grey becomes the Phoenix. She's the Phoenix for a while and she becomes the Dark Phoenix. The reason people liked it in the comic books is because it took like fucking 2 years to fucking happen. And it was a slow... And people liked Cyclops. It matters that you like Cyclops for that story to work. Okay, whatever. Just saying, sometimes the people put too much shit too fast in those movies. And they're not good. But New Mutants is probably going to be good. That should be cool. I hope New Mutants is cool. So Animal Man's amazing. Check it out. Doom Patrol is insane. Doom Patrol is just so crazy. Anybody who knows about comics. No, and he was not on drugs doing this stuff. This is just, Grant Morrison is out of this world. This is such good print. I love the fucking printing they did on this. Can't really see it, can you? Animal Man. Geez, I should probably talk on this audio podcast. Doom Patrol is not like the X-Men. They are weirder than the X-Men. They are less probably useful superpowers than the X-Men. And they're just a crazier group than the X-Men, and Grant Morrison really, really made something special with that. They're just crazy. I would also want to make that movie too. Actually, I don't think I would. Someone else would need to make that movie, but that's a great movie. I talked about The Invisibles, about a group of... They're not terrorists. They're They're like the Upright Citizens Brigade. Like they're involved in... I'm so bad at explaining this stuff. They have to take care of shit. They help people out. They're like an organized group of people that... It's like the Matrix. Oh yeah, that's right. The Matrix stole this whole movie. So they're like not a terrorist group in a bad way. They're the good guys trying to free people and trying to like free people's minds and stuff because they're being mind controlled. Just like the Matrix. And they have to also stop, you know, interdimensional baddies and things like that. It's so incredible. My goodness gracious. The Invisibles is my... I think The Invisibles is my favorite comic book ever. That is just so beautiful. That is just incredible. Wow. So good. So good. But it's way more complex than The Matrix. It's way crazier than The Matrix. I love The Matrix, but it gets really, really crazy. It gets really, really wild. And I want to reread it. Oh my gosh, dude. This is just such a cool book. Anyways. Anywho's. Let's move on. Let's go to his... My friend has fucking they borrowed All-Star Superman. God damn it. People love Grant Morrison, man. You can't let people borrow it. They just take him. He redid Superman in Action Comics. I don't know where my Action Comics Volume 1 is. He's got this suit. Okay, this podcast is getting off the tracks. I'm getting pissed about my comics being gone. Where's All-Star Superman? All-Star Superman is like Grant Morrison's one of his greatest works. And it's not on there, so I guess we gotta move to Batman. Because I don't know where Action Comics Volume 1 is. I don't know where All-Star Superman is. We can look at Action Comics Volume 3, though. And just open up to a random page. And this dude... I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. This made me cry. I'm not going to look at that. That's going to make me cry again. That story did. There's some crazy shit going on in this Superman comic. Wild. Real wild. What happened to fucking Action? Alright. Alright. I'll figure it out later. But I have it in order. I have like all his DC stuff in order because his DC stuff starts really with Action Comics. Chronologically, I think is where it would go. Action Comics, Superman. It's his origin story. Then the Justice League of America. this is an incredible comic too. This was, like, Grant Morrison brought the Justice League of America back together. And at the time that it was going on in comic books, they were spread throughout all these different... The Justice League was not anyone that we'd probably recognize today. It had like Blue Beetle and people like that, I think, on it. And then Grant Morrison comes and he's like, hey, we're going to get the band back together, dude. We're going to get the people that... The fucking people that people want to see. So, Booyakasha, he makes the Justice League and gets the team back together. The people want to see Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Superman, Aquaman, oh fuck, Martian Manhunter, but I forget his name, John, I don't know, John something, and Batman, Superman. We're missing the Flash in that picture. We're missing the Flash. Where's the Flash? Oh, the Flash has something on his face. Let's get it off of the Flash's face. Because the Flash is a powerful... Superman's got one on his face. Oh no. Oh no. Boom. Off his face. Boom. Look at that. I thought that would happen. And then this is like a time when Superman became a fucking Electro dude. Let's not talk about that. Superman. There we go. Superman right there. So fucking good, man. So fucking good. There's our guys. Dude, I'm really being bad anxiety right now. So I should probably wrap this up. I'm starting to get really anxious. Oh, Green Arrow, he's cool. And the Flash right there. Look at those two people. They have TV shows now. They have good shows now. Fucking wild. Arkham Asylum, very, very famous comic book. And rightfully so. Dave McKean, the art on it. Dave McKean hated drawing Batman. So he like really didn't draw Batman. But look how freaky that is. And it's really Batman's nightmare. He just goes to bed and, I mean, this is the shit he thinks about, like Batman. He's got some issues, Batman probably. Probably a guy who dresses up in a bat suit has a little bit of issues. But you can see the art is just incredible, and it goes into a little bit more of the history of Arkham Asylum, what it is, what you're gonna do. Really, 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 really good art, man. Look at that shit. It's crazy. Gothic, a very interesting kind of vampiric story about basically Batman and Dracula, I think. I'm pretty sure Batman fights Dracula or something. I can't really remember this one that well. But the art's very cool, very good. Very cool art. Okay, I gotta pee and stuff. We're gonna just wrap this up. I love Grant Morrison. I think I've explained my love for him pretty well. We're gonna talk about, I love Sea Guy. I love Flex Mentallo. We're gonna do Batman, Flex Mentallo. This is his Batman run. There's a nah, not really. I don't know the Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. I think he wrote like one issue of that as a crossover thing. I don't have that. I'll get it someday. But this is it. Batman and Son, The Black Glove, R.I.P., Batman and Robin, Volume 1, Batman and Robin, Volume 2, Batman and Robin, Volume 3. Time in the Batman, which shows you what happens to Batman before Crisis on Infinite Earth, then after Crisis on Infinite Earth, The Return of Bruce Wayne, which is about him traveling through time after he got shot back into time in Final Crisis. Spoiler alert, but he comes back. Batman Incorporated is about him starting a group of Batmen all around the world, people that would fight crime all around the world, like he does. And then Batman Incorporated 1 and 2. That's the end of his This is his Batman run. It's a 6-year run. It is incredible. It's my favorite Batman. This Batman, the animated series, and then the first 2 Nolan movies. That's my favorite Batman stuff out there. I just love his Batman. His Batman is he's not tortured. He's not like fucked up. I mean, he's fucked up, but he's not tortured. He's someone who's trained and dealt with these things his whole life and has worked very hard to sort of overcome and combat his issues. So Batman gets shot back in time, and while he's his Batman is put together. His Batman basically encapsulates as if everything that's ever happened in all of Batman comics happened, and if all that happened, he thinks he's like a 35-year-old. He's like a dude in his 30s who has his shit together, basically Batman by that time. So this is Batman and Robin. He gets shot. Bruce Wayne gets shot back in time, and then Dick Grayson becomes Batman. Damian Wayne, who's Damian Wayne's son, which is what that whole arc is really about. It starts with Batman and Son, and it's about Batman finding out he has a son with Talia al Ghul, the only girl who could really, really handle Batman. You know what I'm saying? And this is Frank Quietly, I think the best collaborator with Grant Morrison personally. I also love Guy, Cameron Stewart. This is really incredible. Just the complete, like when Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly work together, that's my favorite comic book ever. A great example of that too is one of my favorite comic books of all time. Anyone should read this. People who aren't in comics should read this. If this doesn't make you cry, you don't cry that much. It's amazing. So this is him and Frank Quietly again. Let me find. That's amazing. Amazing. I know you can't see it really well. Okay, let's see. You can't really see. I know you can't see it, but these are animals that have been turned into fucking weapons. Anyways, whatever. You should read that book. Weed 3 is amazing. Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly are amazing. This poster kind of got fixed now. Oh yes, and now going still with Frank Quietly and Grant Morrison. Going still with it. Oh my gosh. Like, this is so good. This is his new X-Men. This is Frank Quietly. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the name, I always forget the name of the giant sentinel, but that's amazing art. I want to find a picture of Beast, because ain't nobody drew Beast as good as this dude did. Frank Quietly. Where you at, Beast? Oh, Beast. Look at that. So cool. Amazing. And Emma Frost right there. Incredible. Frank Wiley's amazing. It's like one of my dreams to have him do an album cover of mine. So I will have to keep working to make that happen. Flex Mentallo. This is probably my single favorite comic book of any comic book. This is my favorite comic book. Kitty, what are you doing here? You know we're talking about Grant Morrison, huh? Huh? What are you doing here, kitty? I think I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna read this comic, and I might not do this. I don't know if I'll be able. Yeah, I'm gonna come back, read this comic, and I'll have the ending of this episode be me reading the first issue of Flex Mentallo. I love Grant Morrison so much. He's inspired me. He's gotten me into magic, but that is a metaphor, a reframing of a way to reframe my life and reframe the actions of my life. But he also just inspired me as a great artist and as someone who does something new, and someone that tries new things, and is always you can just tell he works so hard because everything he comes out with is great. He's also a genius, but he works at his genius, and that's why he's a genius too. Again, a snake eating its own tail. Thanks for watching. Here's the episode. I hope I do an alright job of reading it. Flex Mentallo, man of muscle mystery. You, buy this comic now or the earth is doomed. All new, no reprint, in this issue, after the fact. Grant Morrison, Frank Quietly, 4-issue miniseries. Now, 24 full color pages. Approved by the World Bodybuilding Association. First issue, DC Vertigo #1, June 96, 250 US, 350 Canada, suggested for mature readers. Barcode 78140123221452299. Okay, the comic begins. Flight number 230 will be boarding shortly through the K9 doorway. Through the K9 doorway. The K9 doorway. This is your brain on drugs. Huh? Did you ever see that commercial? Jesus! You got that order yet, Mario? Coming right up! 2 eggs in a bun twice, over easy, no running whites. Eggs, eggs, who wants eggs?
Eggs? I guess that'll be me.
There you go, honey. Boy, I just adore all male He-Man. You're a magnificent modern Hercules, that's what you are.
And you're a fine, hard-working woman. How much do I owe you? Boy, I've been waiting for this. Nothing like the protein and goodness in... Huh?
There he goes! It's a bomb! Bomb! It's a bomb! Don't let him get away!
I like to go down to the airport once a week. Usually take a taxi there and just sit for most of the day, watching the planes, landing and taking off, watching the people come and go, kids lugging bags and toy animals, businessmen checking their watches, lovers hugging and parting. I like to watch life go by. A river of faces that never grows dull. You can always count on life. Today was different. Stand back! Let me deal with this!
What a build! He's famous for it.
It looked like I had maybe 4 or 5 seconds before the bomb went off. So I summoned up the power of muscle mystery, activating the secret biocultic tensions of each muscle cord, each tendon. Hero of the beach! Above my head, my famous hero halo shimmered into view. And I flexed, reaching out to probe the interior of the bomb with my body-mind. But then, before I could do anything at all, the bomb just fizzed and spat and went out. And I realized it wasn't a bomb at all. It was a key. And it was about to open the strangest door of all.
Jesus! Jesus Christ! How am I supposed to find anything in this mess? Look at this stuff. It must be here. I know it was here. Shit. I can't believe all this shit. Papers everywhere. Muck. This is my fucking life. Piles of paper and boxes and there it is. I knew the bastard was here somewhere. There it is. The buzzer. You ever hear of Faculty X Mentallo? These things have been turning up all over the place. First one appeared on the altar of a cathedral, and since then we've been finding them in hospitals, schools, banks, offices, you name it. Cartoon bombs, Jesus, look at this dumb thing. They're not even explosive. They're just hollow black balls left in where real bombs would damage the foundation of the establishment. It's like they're taunting us, showing us how fragile the whole system is.
So who are they? Terrorists? Pranksters? What does Faculty X mean?
Beats me. They keep sending me all this kind of weird shit. Glowing rings, x-ray goggles, star scepters, yellow boots with rigid fireproof treads. I got a drawer full of this crap. The debris of 1,000 out-of-phase parallel Earths according to the last note of a manifesto or whatever it is that we get in the mail. They've even got a slogan. Just because you're paranoid, it doesn't mean they aren't paranoid too. There's a crazy kind of logic to it, don't you think? Kind of a Zen thing. You want my opinion? I think it's some kind of hoax going on, like crop circles or UFOs. Nobody's even managed to get a picture of these Facility X jokers. All we get are eyewitness accounts of figures in black cloaks running from the crime scene. Millennium fever, you know? The heat's on, society's coming apart at the same time, and everybody's holding their breath for the end of the world. If the bomb doesn't get us, the plague will. Panic's bringing the crazies out of the cracks in the paintwork. Here's something that came in today, for instance. Some kind of clue. That's no clue at all. Take a look at this, Mentallo. Tell me what you make of it. The fact is...
My God! This is a fact card. This is impossible. This is a fact card.
Boss, you okay? You look kind of pale. What's up, boss?
The fact. Here. Impossible.
Think again, waxworker! The fact is, nothing is impossible! I haven't seen this stuff for ages. They're acting brilliant. Look. When you're a kid, you just do it. You don't even think about it. It's pure. It's totally pure. Shit, I gotta stop looking at all this. Be here all night. It's not what I want. Where's the phone? Where's the fucking buzzer? Where did I put the thing? I had it a minute ago. Out of the way, Tribert. Come on. Where is it? Where is it? Shit. Oh, shit. What a total mess. I can't keep... Oh, there it is. Right there. Oh, thank God. You're telling me the fact is a fictional character, right? Jesus. Things fall apart, huh? The whole of goddamn reality's coming unglued and I'm here on the night shift.
He was one of a bunch of characters from a homemade comic book created by a kid called Wally Sage, Lieutenant. I was another one of those characters, but I was brought to life by Wally's psychic powers. He thought me off the page and into the real world so I could help him. He died in my arms. Maybe the fact got out too somehow. Maybe if I find him, everything will come together. Yeah, maybe. And maybe God's just decided to ring down the curtain of the whole dumbass drama. Signs the wonders, Mentallo.
Wonders and signs. Goddamn phone ringing all the time. Goddamn bugs. Nobody's home. Nobody's home. Well, that's it then, huh? Nothing left to do. Meow! I've stolen your money, I've stolen your memories, I've stolen your hopes for the future. Now I dare you to uncover the shocking, sacred identity of Ogami, the folding man. One for sorrow, two for joy, your numbers up, Flex Mentallo. Long live the lucky number gang.
What have I done? I've opened the baffling box and I've let loose the power of beyond on an unsuspecting world. Reality dies at dawn. Tch. What happened to the good old days? The heroes and villains, the team-ups and dream-ups. Seems to rain all the time these days. Never seems to get light. Maybe the lieutenant is right. Maybe it's the end of the world and nothing left to do but play with our old toys. Turn on the TV, see what's happening. It's all weird cable stations these days. Hard to tell what's news and what's not. Guess it just doesn't matter anymore.
AIDS. The ozone layer. The bomb. It's only the tip of the iceberg. These are the last days. It's oblivion. I've been telling them, but they just won't listen. I knew it was over for mankind when I first heard those weird rumblings in the Earth's core. They're getting louder every day. The Earth is doomed. I'm a dad, and I'm afraid of my little baby here. Who wouldn't be? That's why I built me a rocket ship. Gonna send my boy into space, give him a chance on some other planet out there. You call me crazy now, but soon. Not of this world. I was sent here a long time ago to teach you, to show you wonders, but now it's too late. It's been so long I've forgotten all the important things I had to say. It's too late. A snowball singing my poem read a certain tree of a certain hour of the day. Human memories have invaded my head of my own memories. Only fragments remain. Candy-striped skies. Can you imagine? And a child smiling, weightless, each floating strand of hair in a tiny eye as its tip. A swaying mass of a blinking light. Who's going to save the world now? And give your cat food!
Who's going to save the world now?
Yes, that's right, food! Cats love it! Meow! Give it to me! That's what cats say! That's good. Lamb and turkey, Tibbert. You're getting rather old, but you're a good cat. Bye, son. And I thought that was real. For a minute there, I felt myself stroking my cat's fur and walking out into the rain, but that was an hour ago or something. It's just me now telling you the story. I thought it was happening. Time's totally fucked up. And I'll never see my lovely cat again. What? My name is Sage Wallace. But you can call me Wallace Sage. Of course it's not real. It's a secret identity. It's my secret identity. Does it matter? What? You sound weird. I play in a band. I write songs. Yeah, quite famous. I don't know where I am. I'm not really sure. Somewhere in the city. It's raining. I don't mind. It's so hot. I'm so hot.
Who's going to save the world? Does anybody care anymore?
Who's gonna save the world? Does anybody care anymore?
What happened here, officer?
We found this poor asshole round in the back here, all tangled up. Some kind of net. He's been pretty badly beaten. Head and chest injuries, fractured spine. Guy's not making too much sense, but from what I can figure, a gang of boys did it. Christ only knows, if you ask me. It looks like he ran into a herd of goddamn rhinos on BZB.
Poor bastard. I ripped it off one of them.
This neighborhood's gone to hell. It's all gone to hell. People think the end of the world's coming. They just go crazy. What's to lose?
I guess so. Listen, officer. This may sound a little queer, I guess, but I want you to tell me the first fact about anything that comes into your head.
The first fact, well, there's an old abandoned school about 2 blocks from here. That's not much of anything, is it?
It'll do, officer. Thanks. All this time, I had the answer to the man's question. He was staring me right in the face. Who's gonna save the world? It was so simple. Who always saves the world? The superheroes, that's who. It was like a light going on in my mind, dispelling the shadows of the long, dark night we'd found ourselves in. I remember the way it used to be. Remember when we turned the world on its axis to save the life of one child? Remember how we flew to the limits of unknown, titanic galleries to the petition of gods for humanity's survival? Remember when we rescued kittens from trees and asked for no reward? It all came back to me in that place, that haunted school.
Some things you can never explain. I know I saw the guy standing at the door. I was about 8 at the time. I can see him now like it's still happening. Sorry, I'm just rambling. I just wanted to talk to someone for a little while and no one was home, so I phoned the Samaritans. Somebody gave me this phone, yeah. It's ridiculous. You should see this thing. It's the shape of the Stingray from the King Sting series. Remember? They had the buzzer phone in that. Maybe it's a bit before your time. You got a friendly voice. I wish I could sound like that. It's a skill, isn't it? It's funny. All I can think about is being a kid, all those memories, comics. Comics everywhere, I can smell them in the room. Did you ever read comics? No, American comics. Thick comics. Mando, the Mysterious. That was my uncle's favorite. Sort of occulty stuff. I remember there was this story called, what was it? A Collapse into the Nucleus. Fuck, it scared the shit out of me. It's funny how that's what's left at the end, isn't it? All this stupid stuff. Not War and Peace, not James Joyce. Just the comics, the superheroes. The Blazer, the Flaming Flag, Lord Limbo, the Golden Agent. Totally amazing names. I mean, when you think about it, they're like archetypical. They come right up from the depths. Those things. How can you say this stuff's stupid? How do people get so ashamed of things? I mean, I really love those comics. I didn't start saving them until I was about 12 or something, though. I had to go to the hospital for an operation, and my aunt brought me some comics to read. It was horrible. What? No, the operation. I'm talking about the operation now. Awful. The doctor had blood and stuff on his rubber boots. They gave me gas, and then I woke up in the middle of the night in total agony. Desperate for water. Nurse! I couldn't even whisper. Hours inching by like centuries, yeah. And there was this green light. I just stared at it all night. It was like an alien intelligence watching me, conducting some kind of experiment on me. I was in real pain. I just kept thinking that if I could last the night, I'd have won. Nobody's got any idea what kids go through. I was all on my own, that fucking light, hours and hours and hours like years. Poor little me on my own. Can I help you now? You look lost, son. Need any help?
I'm looking for a friend.
His name was the Fact.
He was a crime fighter.
Don't know the name. I figured you were a parent or guardian. That's what you look like at first. Thought you might be after news or your young ward. This place been empty for years now. There's nobody here but me, son. You're wasting your time here.
Wait. What is this place?
It used to be a school for sidekicks. Till they closed us down. Nowhere for the boys to go after that. No supervision. They're out. They're out there now. Roaming tribes of boys, sidekicks armed to the teeth and trained to kill. Beast boys and daring young athletes, super fast Mercury boys and chrome trimmed suits, arch boys with trick arrows and devil-may-care grins. But no one to look up to anymore, see? No future, no hope. Can't blame 'em for running wild.
If they close the school, why are you still here, old-timer? I hope you don't mind me asking, but who exactly are you, anyway?
Me? I'm the mightiest man in the universe, son. Got a secret origin, too. I saw the old man in the underpass. Thought he was ill, people were just passing by. But I gave him some money. It was all I had. I've been saving for a convoy terror naval battle game. There you go, mister. Hope you get better. In return for my kindness, he gave me a crossword puzzle to fill in. Said I should speak aloud the last word I wrote down. He claimed it was the word God said, the word that brought the universe and consciousness into being. So I tried it. What boy wouldn't? Didn't ever see the old man again. Sometimes I think he was my own future self.
But why are you here? If you've got all these powers, you can help me save the world.
It's just people who need saving. The world's fine as it is. See, I figured it was better here. It was better to stay here. Better to live and suffer as a man than to be a god looking down on others, living in suffering. I'm like a reformed alcoholic. Just one more day, sweet Jesus. One more day without saying that word. Here, you take this. I kept that weird cross puzzle. It's old now, but I'm betting it'll still work for the right person. Now I've got work to be getting on with. My advice is, you should try the railroad station. Good luck, Flex.
You too. You sure have kept this place clean. The station was busy. With people hurrying home to be with their loved ones, everyone seemed scared and anxious. I could feel it all building up, a big tension and pressure pressing down on all of us. Then it happened. Bomb! Jumpin' Jesus, it's a bomb! Time seemed to slow down as he turned and looked at me, and I saw that he was fuzzy and indistinct, like one of those UFO photographs or pictures of the Loch Ness Monster. And suddenly I was moving into action.
Gasp! It's Flex Mentallo, man of muscle mystery!
I flexed a bicep. Concrete exploded by his feet, but he kept his balance and kept on running, flickering as he went, like an old black and white cartoon from the 30s. Sorry, I keep drifting off. Are you still there? It's like hallucinations. I don't mind, it's amazing. It's like real, like another world happening. What have I taken? What do you mean? Oh, right, drugs. Yeah, I've taken a lot of drugs, haven't I? Shit. No wonder I feel so weird. Well, there was a quarter of hash at least. 2 ecstasy tabs, acid. I must be coming up on that fucking acid. Jesus! I wish I hadn't taken that now. A bottle of vodka and, you should see that cigarette. Oh yeah, and those paracetamols. What? I don't know. A whole bottle, I think. What? Well, of course I'm committing suicide. What do you think? I just wanted someone to talk to, that's all. Well, I'm waiting. I just wanted to talk about the comics, see? All those shitty, amazing comics. I almost had him. I reached out for his cloak and caught hold of a trailing length of crackling material. And then I felt the static charge go dead in my hand. I felt the shape leave, the cloth and the sound of his breathing stopped and... Chick, 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 dunk! The fact. And I read the name of the bar printed in green ink on the back of the photo strip, and all at once that strange door swung open wide. Alright, that was Flex Mentallo. It's really early in the morning. I probably shouldn't have recorded it in the morning. I'm that guy. My voice. But I shouldn't have recorded it early in the morning. I'm a little bit groggy, but it's not even early. It's 10:35, but I'm just waking up, and my vocals are getting warmed up, and I just rhymed up with up, and that's a pretty fucked up. There we go. I really love that issue. And there's 4 more.
Maybe I'll read the rest some other time. But also, I think you should just read it because it's fucking amazing. Flex Mentallo. Get the trade paperback. Buy the single issues. The video was made off of the single issues, which has a different coloring. But also the trade paperback coloring is very good too. And actually, the coloring that was in the original Flex Mentallo single issues before the recoloring is the coloring that inspired the Beautiful Strangers cover and Back in Love. The front and the back cover of Beautiful Strangers, and also that the back cover is the Back in Love single album cover, or single cover. Definitely Beautiful Strangers was inspired coloring-wise by Flex Mentallo. I love this comic. I love Grant Morrison. Thank you for watching if you watch this. I guess maybe you just swung in right here. You get a thanks. Thank you for even just watching the thank you, if that's what's up too. Alright. On to my episode called I Love Your Mom's House Podcast. Thank you for listening to the Here podcast. I'm thanking you. Am I overthinking you? Probably.